recording. All right. Good morning, everybody. Today we're going to talk about working with a lease. We're going to talk about what to do when you're working with a landlord and how to put the property in the market and what you're going to need to do for that. Actually, I think we have a slide on what we're going to learn here. So steps to launching your lease listing when you're working with the landlord. Steps to take when working with the tenant. So you might not be working with the landlord, but you might be working with the tenant, and we're going to talk about how to deal with that. We're going to talk about the representation agreements, applications, reports, supporting documents that you're going to need when leasing a property, and some strategies to make your applicant more appealing or just make your offer look better, your application packet look better. Because you might be submitting an application packet for your tenant, for your client, that 10 other people might be doing the same thing, and they might all have the same type of credit, similar income. So what makes yours stand out, right? How do you make it stand out? We're going to talk about that. All right, so working with the leases, why would you work with the lease, right? You guys are realtors, you want to work with buyers and sellers. Well, it helps build confidence. You're new to the industry, trying to get your feet wet, trying to understand what ZipForms is, what rent spree is, how to contact agents, schedule a showing, show the property, enter, open lock boxes, things like that. And you can practice with leases. So it's pretty important to work with the lease. They build long-term client relationships. That tenant that you put into a property might turn into a buyer after the lease is up in a year. Or they might have a parent or family member that's thinking of buying or selling, and they can refer you. So be professional, treat them right. They add value to your real estate services. So now when somebody asks you, what type of services do you provide? I work with sellers, with buyers, with landlords, with tenants, with income properties, investments. It gives you experience in, like we talked about, communicating with other agents. When you're new, it's pretty scary calling an agent that's been doing it for years and saying, I'd like to show your property, or I have questions about this property, but the more you do it, the more you're going to build up confidence, right? You're going to get experience in showing properties, scheduling the showings, and then even spacing them out time-wise, where it gives you enough time to show the property, drive to the next property, get there on time, and so forth. And actually showing the properties, opening the lock boxes. That's one of the things I try to harp on a lot, because sometimes you have trouble opening the lockbox and you need practice doing that. You don't want to look like you don't know what you're doing when you're opening the lockbox when you're working with the buyer. When you're working with a tenant, it's a tenant, it's $1,500 commission, but you still don't want to mess up, right? You want to know what you're doing. And even after talking about this with you guys in the classes, we still have some agents that have a hard time their first time opening a lockbox. Even though they've opened it before, they show up to the property and they're like, I couldn't open the lockbox. So working with ZipForms and digital signatures. So ZipForms, again, is where all the contracts are. We use AuthentiSign, not DocuSign. That's included for free with ZipForms, not free, with whatever you pay your fees for. So you get experience with that. That's pretty important. So the things that I like to say are going to help you the most in your real estate career are marketing. Let people know who you are, what you do, where to find you. Know the MLS. Become an expert in navigating the MLS. Searching for properties. Searching for comparable properties to come up with the suggested list price for a seller. So become an expert at the MLS. And then ZipForms. Know what contracts you need, how to fill out the contracts, how to send them out for digital signatures. I think those are the three crucial parts of this industry. And you're also going to get experience in submitting offers. In this example, is going to be an application packet, not an actual offer. When you're working with sales, you're going to submit your purchase agreement along with proof of funds and pre-approval letter. When you're working with offers, with application packets, it's the application, credit report, last 2 bank statements, last 2 pay stubs for each adult. That's your application packet.
Can you repeat that for me?
Your application, credit report, last 2 pay stubs, last 2 bank statements. And sometimes some landlords will want the previous year's taxes. So if they're self-employed or something. Any questions on this?
Are they not allowed to ask for certain things?
No, they can ask for whatever they want, but that's typically what you're gonna see. So when you look in the MLS, when you're looking through the listing, it'll tell you at the bottom, like, what to submit. Some will tell you, some won't tell you, but that's typically what you're gonna need, the last two bank statements, last two pay stubs, credit report and application. So, understanding all sides, what does the landlord want? He wants to protect the property and wants income. They want someone that's gonna take care of the property, above all, right? Make some money, but make sure they're gonna take care of my property. And the tenant wants to secure a safe place for their family and for themselves, right? And a realtor's gonna advocate, advise, and facilitate for either side, but we want to get paid, right? And we want repeat business referrals out of it. Like I mentioned earlier, it might not just be repeat business with that particular tenant, it could be referral. So lease listing launch preparation and tasks. So what do we do to when we're getting ready to launch a new lease listing? First thing we want to do is conduct a property rental evaluation. So this is going to be pretty much like when we do a CMA or a potential listing for sale. We have to look on the MLS to see what the comps say that those properties leased for. We're trying to come up with a suggested list price for the lease. We're going to tour the property. We want to make sure that we tell them, hey, you should paint this, or, take care of those scratches or nicks, or fix that broken window, put the screens back on, whatever it is. Make sure the property's ready in move-in condition. Discuss terms. So agree to list price and a deposit. Discuss and agree to agent compensation. How much are you going to get paid? So it's typically 3%. Some people are doing 2.5%, but for leases, 3%, because it's not even that much. And discuss what the landlord's going to pay for and what the tenant's going to pay for as far as utilities. So is the landlord going to pay for the gardener and the tenant pays for all the utilities? Is the landlord going to pay for water and trash and the tenant pays for the rest? What's included? So you want to make sure you understand who's paying for what.
Question.
Yeah.
Is this when you also ask the landlord if he or she's gonna pay the other agent compensation?
You can bring it up.
Okay.
Or
so
just-
they can be aware.
Yeah, just let them know, hey, other agents are going to bring their applicants and they're going to ask you to pay for their commission. This is something we've done in the past. Before, it would be part of the listing agreement where the landlord would pay for the buyer's agent's commission. That's not in the contract anymore, but it's traditional and most landlords are paying for it. So be ready for it. You also want to discuss parking, pets, and what the ideal tenant looks like. FICO score, income, things like that. But as far as like parking, is there an assigned parking spot? Is there an assigned parking garage? Are you going to allow pets? If so, what kind of pets? Also make them aware of emotional support dogs or animals. Because you can't deny someone because of that. And they're not considered pets. Interesting, right? They identify as emotional support animals. Get the lease listing agreement signed. After you discuss all this, you have the lease listing agreement signed. And then this is what it looks like. Keep in mind, you want to give yourself some time from the beginning date up here in number 1. We have the beginning date is October 1st on this. This is an old example, but let's say you want to give yourself a couple of weeks to go live. Why? Because you have to take pictures of the property, make any final touch-ups in the property, whatever you need to do, and then enter into the MLS. So if you walk into the listing agreement or a meeting with the seller, the landlord, and you put today's date, you have to have the listing in the MLS within 2 days. Are you going to be able to have time to take pictures or schedule a photographer within those 2 days? Come up with a description, everything you need to know about the property, enter into the MLS, but also enter it into the MLS, right? And then when it's your first listing, it could take a few hours to do that. Once you get used to it, you do it fairly quickly, but just to go over a couple of things here, the main things are the landlord's name and Coldwell Banker Platinum Properties, we're gonna have a beginning date and ending date. And it's not a valid contract if there's no beginning and ending date. So if you just say, oh, I'm gonna have them sign it now and I'll just fill in those dates later. You can't write something in after they've signed. It has to all be in there before they sign. And you give them a copy of it. So beginning date, ending date, property address, what they're leasing it for monthly. So per month, as you see on number 2A. And then 2B, what the security deposit is gonna be. And type of tenancy, is it gonna be month to month? Is it gonna be 1 year? I mean, whatever you enter here, it could change, depending on, when they accept someone, they wanna do month to month or year. So even if it says one thing here, I'm pretty sure they can change their mind.
So what is the difference between month to month and 1 year? If the contract is 12 months.
So the tenant can move out after 3 months if they want to. If it's month to month. Yeah, but if you're on a 1 year lease, you can't leave until after a year. If you do, then there's gonna be a penalty. You have to.
Right, so then I check the 1 year.
Typically, it's 1 year lease. And then you want to scroll down a little bit to number 3 for compensation. That's where you're gonna enter the percentage of commission that you're gonna ask for. And the commission is based on the 12 months rent total times 3%.
So this is separate from what landlord give to the tenants side, right?
This is only between the landlord and the listing agent.
Listing agent.
Yeah.
Okay, then have a separate discussion with landlord about, are you willing to give the commission?
I wouldn't say, are you willing to? I would say, just so you know, this is how it used to be, where landlords used to pay a commission for both agents. It's no longer like that. It's no longer on the listing agreement. The listing agreement only says you have to pay me, but you're gonna have tenants and their agents asking you to pay for their agent's commission. And that's right now, that's what people are doing. They're paying for it.
Mhm.
So let's say you can tell them, let's say you get 2 applicants, everything's the same except one wants you to pay the commission, the other one doesn't. You might want to accept the one that isn't asking for commission, right? So that could be another thing.
Mhm.
But let them know, hey, they're gonna ask you to pay commission, just be ready for it. Not to mention, what if you bring a tenant? Are you gonna ask them to pay you commission? Because you're gonna have, so when you're representing, we're gonna talk about that a little bit later, but when you're representing a tenant, you have to, I wouldn't show a tenant any properties without having some agreement signed, saying that they're gonna pay me, otherwise I'm wasting my time. Right? I'm showing them properties, I'm gonna submit an application on their behalf, and they accept them, and I have no agreement in place, I don't get paid. They get the property, but I don't get paid, right? So.
Carlos, I have a question regarding the beginning date and the ending date.
Yes.
That's the date that the landlord commit to work with me, right? So that can be 6 months
Yes,
to a year,
yes.
right? Okay. I just want to clear.
And the beginning date means that's when it's gonna be available to put on the MLS. So when you can't put a listing into the MLS without having the listing agreement signed. So sometimes people think, oh, I'll just put it in the MLS, do my cousin a favor. You can't, it's a fine, you can get fined for that, for putting the listing into the MLS without having the listing agreement signed. So
So what is the recommended period for this agreement?
6 months to a year, depending on how the market is.
6 months to the, oh.
Yeah, if it's a good rental market, 6 months is okay. If you can get it for a year, why not? But, if you get it for 6 months, you can always extend it.
But as
If it
long as
doesn't-
the property lease out, then that's
Yeah, once it's
Clear
leased
out,
out,
right?
that ends it, yeah. So commission and compensation, like we said, it's a total of 1 year. So for this example, 2.5% commission. The rent's $4,000 a month, times 12 months is $48,000 a year. Times 2.5% is $1,440. That's what your commission would be. Any questions on it? It's not a lot, right? But you're learning on the job, you're getting experience, and like we talked about, you're dealing with other agents, you're showing properties, you're searching the MLS, you're doing contracts, all that stuff. So You're getting paid while you're learning. And then if you don't understand something, come into the office and ask us. We're here to help you. Except this thing, man, I'm just, this one situation is just, it's, yeah.
Only have hard questions.
So pre-launch, what are you gonna do pre-launch? So you're gonna order your for sale sign, for lease sign. It's, again, it's not, doesn't say for sale, it just has the brokerage name, your name, phone number, contact, DRA number. And then you can get a sign writer, and I brought an example of what a sign writer looks like. This is a sold one that you can put on top of the sign. But in this case, you're gonna do for lease. So you're gonna have your sign that you can use for sale or for lease, but you're gonna add this to it on top. And you can order those at ressforsigns.com. And make sure they say Coldwell Banker Platinum Properties on it. And then if you're gonna do open houses, buy open house signs. I would recommend at least 20 signs. And you're gonna notice that 20 signs go really fast once you put them on the main streets. And then every turn from different entrances into the neighborhood.
I was helping a friend to hold an open house.
Yeah.
And I spread out the sign, and at the end of the day, I forgot where I put them. I drove around the neighborhood looking for them.
Well, you know, when you forget, an easy way would be go back to the entrance of the neighborhood and then take the sign and then follow the next one, take that one, and then just keep going all the way to the property. All right, any questions on this? Okay. Schedule a photographer or take pictures yourself. So for leases, it's not uncommon that the agent will just take pictures themselves. Because everybody's phone has like these awesome cameras on them, right? You just have to know how to take pictures. So for lease listings, nobody expects you to go out and pay hundreds of dollars for a photographer to take pictures, but it just makes you look better if you hire a photographer. But if you take good pictures, you know, go ahead. Just don't do them like tall ways, do them side, like flip the phone sideways and take pictures. Because that's how they're gonna be entering to the MLS.
Now, let's say if you pay for the professional photographer to take the picture.
Yeah.
And for some reason, the landlord decides to cancel.
You
Who is
can put, so traditionally the agent will pay for the pictures. But if you're worried that like it's overpriced and it might not lease, and you've already told the landlord, hey, this is more than what, I don't think it's gonna lease at this price.
Mhm.
So I'll list it for you and I'll pay for the pictures, but if for some reason it doesn't lease, you're gonna reimburse me for what I spent on the pictures. So you can write that into the contract.
Oh.
So install and activate the Super E-Key app on your phone. You guys, I don't know if you have it, but the Super E-Key app is to unlock the lock boxes. And for those that don't know, this is a Super lockbox. And what you're gonna do is on your phone, you're gonna click obtain key. It's gonna ask you for your code, but your Bluetooth has to be on your phone. And then it communicates to the lockbox and it beeps slowly. And then it starts getting faster and faster and faster and faster until you hear one long beep. And then it says obtain key or open box. And then you're gonna press the bottom of this lockbox and then the tray pops out. And you're gonna grab the key. Sometimes you have to do it twice. Like push it, let it go, push it again, and then it's gonna drop. But that's where the key is gonna be at. And then when you take out the key, I like to keep it in my pocket. Like I said before, I even take the tray inside the house with me so I don't forget to put it back on. So yeah, keep that in mind. And you're also going to purchase the lockbox from Orange County Realtors. I think they're about $150. Did you get one?
I have not used it yet.
Yeah, they're about $150, but you can use them forever. I mean, you don't have to recharge them or anything. The batteries last forever. And launching your lease listing. So you want to search the MLS for a previous listing of the property, like we do for a sale, right? Has it been on the market before for sale, for lease? Print that out. It's going to give you a lot of information about the property. Search the MLS for other properties in that tract. There's other listings, maybe next door, maybe across the street. That's going to have more information about the neighborhood that you might be able to use for your listing when you're entering into the MLS. And then you're going to submit the lease listing to the MLS and then upload the photos that you took or you had your photographer take. Let's see, make sure that your lease listing appears on Zillow because that's the main source of all your leads for tenants. So after you upload the listing to MLS, check the same afternoon and the next morning that it's on Zillow. And add the listing to SkySlope. Remember, SkySlope is transaction management website where you're gonna upload a copy of all the contracts for the brokers to have a copy of it. And then add the listing to Rent Spree. And Rent Spree, I don't know if I have a slide on Rent Spree for this, but Rent Spree is the third-party tenant screening website where the tenant's gonna pay for their own credit report. You're gonna send them a link as the agent for them to fill out the application, pay for the credit report. Once that's complete, it's gonna email you as the agent, hey, this person completed their application. It's ready for you to download. Now you can download it as a PDF and then ask the tenant for last 2 pay stubs, last 2 bank statements. Now you have their complete application. So when you show them properties and they like one, you're ready to just send that off. You don't have to wait for them to do this. So it's good to have this up front. I wouldn't show property without having Rent Spree first as well, because you want to know what you're working with. What if they have a 500 credit score and there's no way you're gonna be able to help them to find a place in Irvine? In Irvine, you can't get a place with 500 credit. I mean, you might be able to if we use one of the methods that I'm gonna talk about later on, but yeah, usually landlords are like, no, 500, I don't think so.
Which one is more credible, Rent Spree or Zillow application?
They're both applications. I'm sure they ask similar questions and you get a credit report with both.
And they both charge the tenant money,
Yes.
okay.
So when you upload the lease listing agreement to SkySub, this is what it looks like. All you need is the lease listing agreement packet. So when you upload the lease listing agreement packet, it's gonna have from ZipForms, the lease listing agreement, and I think that the rental property owner disclosure. So 2 forms that complete the packet. So once you get that signed, you can upload a copy for us to have. And then you fulfill this portion of it. And install the yard sign and the sign writer in front of the property or on the window, depending on property, right?
What is that, right?
It's like this,
Okay.
Yeah. but it's gonna say for lease. It's the top. Install the lockbox and log into SuperWeb, into the SuperWeb website, excuse me, because you're gonna assign that property address to that lockbox. And if you have multiple listings and you have multiple lockboxes, it's good to assign a listing address to each lockbox, because when someone opens the lockbox, it emails you a notification saying there's an agent, this particular agent, like Christine, is at this property at this is what time she opened the lockbox. And you know what property she's looking at because you've labeled that lockbox with that property. So you're gonna say, hey, Christine, it's gonna say Christine's at 123 Main Street at this time. So does that make sense? And then if Zach goes to 17 Flower Street, it's gonna send me a notification, hey, Zach is at 17 Flower Street right now. And it keeps track of who goes in and out of the house. You want to make property flyers with photos, something like that. And then a Rent Spree flyer with the QR code. So when you create the listing in Rent Spree, it's just pretty much adding the listing, the property address, and I think the bedrooms, bath, square footage, like just simple information on it. It creates a flyer like this with a QR code. And I like to put this on the back of the flyer. So when I have an open house or people come by to look at the property, they take the flyer because it has information about the property, it has pictures, has my contact information. But also if they say, hey, how do I apply? Just scan the QR code in the back of the flyer. And it takes them to the Rent Spree application link. It's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Any questions on that?
I have to ask you how to do that.
Okay.
Create the
Yeah.
Rent Spree.
You also want to advertise the open house on social media, let people know, hey, the house is gonna be open on this day at this time, come on by, this is how much it's gonna be, this is how much we're asking for. add the open house, date and time on the MLS. And when you do that, it's gonna send it off to all the, I guess through the feed to all the real estate websites. But for some reason on Zillow, it doesn't show that there's an open house. So if you go do a search and you try to look for things that are like open house this weekend, I don't think it shows that. So what I would do is go into the listing in Zillow. You have to create a Zillow account. It's Zillow Rental Manager. So once you log in and you say you're an agent and you link, I don't know if it automatically pulls your listings onto it, to your account, or you have to tell it. But once it pulls your listing
I
into
think you
your
have to create it.
into your account, yeah, it's gonna have a description, right? I would put open house as the first part of the description. So when people see it, the first thing they see is open house this weekend, this time, this date. And then if you're gonna have an open house, you want to have the open house.
The listings for the house, when we put the open house date, it's automatically fed to the Zillow.
The listing is.
Yeah, but lease is not.
I don't think so. Because here, I actually pulled up lease listings on Zillow for you guys to see. And so these are lease listings in Irvine, but I don't see anything where it says open house on any of them. And I'm sure there's open house on some of them, right? Yeah. So what I would do is I would if this is my list, let's say this is my listing here. Click on it. On the description down here, is there no description? This must be an apartment complex or something. Let's go to single family. And these are all like,
In a complex.
yeah,
You can filter it out. The property type. So scroll through.
okay, let me just click on this one and see what it says. Oh, it's the same thing, huh?
Yeah.
See, they don't have descriptions on them? Here's the description here. So I would put open house like right before this with the date and time. So when they're reading through it, that's the first thing they see.
Do they not have it up on here? I thought if they have an open house, it's like shows automatically on.
I don't see, if
That's
they
what
do,
it
I don't see any, like, look at all these that I've went through, none of them say open house, and I'm sure that there's open houses this weekend on some of them. But it doesn't say open house anywhere.
Oh, you have to put an open house into the MLS for it to do that.
Well, it shows you open houses like on all the real estate, like quotebanker.com, Redfin.com, all these other real estate websites, but not on Zillow. Yeah, I don't know why, but I wanted to show you guys that, so. Okay. And then, so when you're hosting the open house, you want to have the open house non-agency form. So people can sign in as they walk into the property, or you can have the tenant representation and broker compensation agreement if they want to submit an application. And that form is like a listing contract with the buyer, with the tenant, saying that they agree to pay you a commission if you're representing them. Or just have them sign in if they're working with an agent, let their agent submit on their behalf. You can schedule showings as well, so you're gonna get a lot of calls if you're representing the landlord. You're gonna get calls, emails, text messages, emails from Zillow. You want to try, I don't know how you guys want to do it, but I learned a lesson the first time I had a lease listing, and every time somebody called, I want to see the house. Okay, I'll meet you at the property. 25 minutes later, after I got back, I want to see the property. Drive over there, show them property. So I got to the point where I'm like, you know what? I'm going to schedule a bunch of people at one time. So I'm going to be at the property on Wednesday between 5 and 6 o'clock. If you're available, let me know. Otherwise, I'm not sure. I don't know when the next showing is going to be. So I'd have like 4, 5, or 6 different groups of people show up at that time. So it also made it look like, hey, this is a popular listing. A bunch of people are looking at it. But that's what I did. So I don't have to be driving back and forth every time somebody asks.
Especially for a lease where it's not like you're getting paid a lot.
Yeah, and if the property is like like, I had a listing all the way in Orange off of Chapman and. God, like. Not even Prospect, it was like Esplanade or something like that. But to get there from here, I'd have to either take the freeway, kind of make a big U or go across, but it's gonna take even longer. So I'm like, I can't do that. So I'd say, hey, I'm gonna be there on Wednesday and Saturday, which one works for you, right? So you guys can do it the way you want to, but that's what I did. Or like, yeah, the
I used to
Wednesday,
do that, and then it's just too much driving,
Yeah.
so now I schedule like maybe 15 minutes for each viewing.
Yeah.
So the person can feel comfortable walking around by themselves. You
Yeah.
know, I don't want to have too many people in the house either. I schedule it when I'm doing.
or one day during the week, and then say either Wednesday at, for 5 to 6 p.m. or I'm gonna have an open house on Saturday at this time. So you guys can pick. But just so you guys can think about it, you know?
Be efficient.
And then once you guys get applications, whether from tenants that you're representing or from other agents, you want to present all applications, and they're supposed to be presented, I guess, in the order they were received and accepted an offer or an application. So you're gonna accept an application packet, you're gonna notify the tenant's agent. Or if you're representing a tenant, call the tenant, say, hey,
Yeah.
congratulations.
For this part right here.
Yeah.
You know, let's say you get a half a dozen applications and you just, presenting them all to the landlord, right?
Yeah.
How much are we gonna say, like, this is the best one? If, oftentimes the landlord might not wanna do all that and go through each thing. Let's say they're not in the country or something like that, and they're saying, just pick one, or which one of these is the best? Can you, as an agent, am I allowed to do that?
You can summarize
Okay.
what each tenant, like narrow it down to certain things that they're looking for. Credit score,
Sure.
income, maybe employment history, whatever it is,
Mhm.
for each one, and say, hey, so what looks better to you? And then maybe when they submit their proof of funds, how much money they have in the bank. Hey, these people have decent credit, but they have a lot of money in the bank. So if they lose their job, they can still pay for the rent. Or these people have great credit score, but they don't have a lot of money in the bank. So it just depends.
Okay.
Right, but just present what you have and summarize it if you
But
have.
they have to choose, have to forgive them everything and they have to choose.
Yes,
I can't tell them this is the way to go.
no, I wouldn't, because if something bad happens, they're gonna blame you for it. They can say, you're the one that told us to accept them, and look what they did to our house.
They don't blame me no matter what. So.
Then, so now you have to write up the lease agreement. As the listing agent, you get to write up the lease agreement and all the necessary disclosures or forms. And send it off to the landlord to approve it. Don't have them sign it yet. And then once they approve everything, you're gonna send it to the tenant. If you represent the tenant, have them sign first, or send it to the tenant's agent and have them sign it first. Send it back. Then you're gonna have your landlord sign it. Don't forget to go into the MLS and mark your listing as closed once it's signed by all parties. And then you're gonna talk about the security deposit and the first month's rent. And the way this is handled is, let's say, you accepted them in the middle of the month, they're not gonna move into the first of next month. You can collect the security deposit now. And then the first month's rent when they move in, and give them the keys when you get the first month's rent. If it's closer to like the beginning of the month, like let's say on the 28th, 29th, 30th, you can just collect everything. And just meet them with the keys on move-in date. And then you're gonna upload fully executed forms and everything into SkySoap for us to have a copy of everything, so keep that in mind. And deliver the keys. And make sure to get a copy of the move-in inspection form. Oh, one thing I forgot to add to this presentation is remind the landlord that they have to take pictures of the property before the tenant moves in, so they can document the condition of the property.
Now, we take that or the landlord?
The landlord takes it.
Oh.
You can offer that as a service and say, hey, I'm gonna do this for you. This is what you should be doing, but I'm gonna do this for you. But it's the landlord's responsibility.
Now, what are they taking? Just the whole house?
You can take video of the house, walk through it, or take pictures of every room. Brian, our property management guy, he's got one of those 360 cameras. He just puts it in the middle of the room, takes a picture, goes to the next room, takes a picture, and it just does everything for him.
Now, I have questions regarding copy of the move-in inspection. When you deliver the key, you give the tenant that move-in inspection,
Yes.
and then they have 3 days to return it back to us.
Yeah, but you're probably not gonna get it in 3 days. You probably get it like 1 or 2 weeks later. So don't freak out about it. Like, they're gonna get it to you eventually.
Uh-huh,
It's because when they're moving in, they're focusing on moving it.
okay.
And they're not gonna find things wrong with the property until they start setting up the bed in the bedroom, the little things in the bathroom, and whatever their shampoo and whatever in the bathtub. Oh, the bathtub, the water's not working right, because now this is our first shower. Now we're finding out that it doesn't work right. So you're not gonna get it for probably a week.
Okay.
But it says 3 days. It's beneficial for both parties, right? Beneficial for the landlord because you want to show, hey, it was in perfect condition when you moved in. And if the tenant messes up the property, you can make them pay for it or take it out of the security deposit. Now, if you're the tenant, it benefits you because you want to let them know everything that was wrong before you moved in, so they don't charge you for it when you leave. So it benefits both sides. And make sure to give a copy of the entire transaction to the landlord, so they have a copy of the lease and any disclosures and application, credit reports, all that stuff. Any questions?
I have a question about what to put on include and exclude on the listing agreement,
On the lease agreement or the listing agreement?
the lease agreement. Like
Okay,
refrigerator,
well, let's wait till we get to that.
okay,
Okay, so once you get into a lease transaction, once you accept an application, this is a checklist of things that are required. The things that have the asterisk are if applicable, but everything else is required, so make sure you upload that to SkySlope. And then you guys can see the full copy of that later. I just want to show you the list. So now we're representing the tenant, so take off your representing the landlord hat and put on the tenant. Now you're showing property to a tenant, right? You get a call or you get a lead from the system saying, hey, I'd like more information on this property. So what happens now? Or you just get a call from someone that's looking for a property to lease. So consultation, you want to know, you get asked questions, right? What city are you looking? How many beds, baths? How many occupants? How many adults? Is there a particular school district? Are you moving because of the school? Like what school? So you can find properties within that boundary. You want to email them a rent-free application, the link for it, for any adults, for everyone over 18. So if it's like a family where it has the husband and wife, and then like an 18-year-old son or 19-year-old son that's in college, and then like two other kids under 18, the 18-year-old still has to fill out an application, but you don't have to do a credit report for them. But they do need an application. Everyone over 18 needs an application. Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
We woke you, huh? And then also you're going to request the supporting documents. Last two bank statements, last two pay stubs. And it's important to have all this up front. But I would wait to ask them for this stuff until after you looked at their credit report, because there's some people you just can't help. And once you get the credit report, you might decide, hey, you know what? I'm not going to be able to help you. But you can use this credit report with anyone that you're going to apply for. But there's some that you're just going to look at and say, like, you're going to feel bad, you're going to try to help them, but some of them you're just going to waste your time because you're not going to be able to. And then let's say the credit comes out good, they have good work history, everything, and their application looks good, then you can ask them for the supporting documentation. And then you're going to have them sign the tenant representation and broker compensation agreement. Again, let them know, hey, I'm not working for free. I want to make sure that I'm committed to you and that you're committed to me. So let's sign this. You gotta pay me, show me the money. Don't say that to them. And this is what the TRBC looks like. Again, it's between the tenant's name, and then Coldwell Banker Platinum Properties. We're going to put a beginning date and ending date on this. And I think that for this one, there's no time frame, because on the buyer representation, you can't lock them in for more than 3 months. But for this one, it doesn't say anything. So you can do 3 months, 6 months, whatever you want to do. And then again, the default, the property type is single family residence. Location, you can check mark city, next to city, and type in the cities. So Irvine, comma, Lake Forest, comma, Tustin, whatever it is. Or you could just, under additional description, just type in Orange County, somewhere in Orange County, but typically you're gonna have a city that they're looking in. And then additional tenant preferences, 1 year lease term. And then scroll down to the bottom where it says a D3, sorry, D1. That's where you're gonna enter the commission amount, 2.5%, 3%. Just want to show you guys what that looks like. Now you're gonna send them, understand their budget needs, make sure you understand their budget needs.
Suppose that I'm representing the tenant, so I put the computation, right? Then in that case, do I get both from the tenant and the
No.
landlord? No.
No. So this states that if you get compensated by someone other than the tenant for this,
Uh-huh.
that it credits the tenant whatever that amount was. So if the landlord pays you 1%, the tenant owes you 1.5% of that 2.5%. Or if the landlord pays you the whole 2.5%, then the tenant is not obligated to pay you anything because they paid
The
on.
difference, when you
Yes.
get the difference, right,
Yes.
from the tenant.
Yeah.
So how, let's suppose there is some difference, the tenant need to pay.
Yes.
How does tenant pay?
Well, when they move in, they're gonna write a check to the
Oh,
brokerage.
okay.
Yeah. So search the MLS and email them homes, a list of homes, or you can email them a list of homes that you want to show them. So you can set them up on an automatic email where they get to pick and say, hey, I want to see this, 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 and that. Or like I said, send them 4 properties, say, hey, these are the properties I want to show you this weekend. Let's go take a look at them. And then do that. And then you're gonna schedule the showings. And again, give yourself enough time. You've been working with tenants, right?
Mhm.
Have you shown properties or it's just on that particular property?
No, I've shown properties.
So how do you schedule your showings between, like, if you're gonna show 3 properties? How much time do you give yourself in between?
I do like 45 minutes.
Okay,
So
and that works out okay for you?
yeah. If they're close to each other, if they're far, then I gotta count the drive time and stuff.
See, that's perfect because 45 minutes between each property, you get to the property at 1 o'clock, right? You schedule it for 1 o'clock. And you open the lockbox, you go into the house, turn on the lights, show the property, discuss any questions the tenants might have, and then lock up the property, turn off all the lights, lock up the property, and give yourself enough time to drive to the next property.
Yeah. Usually it takes 30 minutes to do all that and then
Another
15
15 minutes to
minutes to
drive.
get there, yeah.
See, so that's perfect timing. See, perfect. Any questions on that? And does that make sense why you want to spread it out a little bit? So when you schedule the showings, you're gonna schedule 123 Main Street for 1 o'clock, 44 Flower Street at 1:45, then the next one at whatever, 2:30. And so forth. Make sure to adhere to the showing instructions. So when you're on the listing in the MLS, there's gonna be showing instructions. Some might have it, some might not have it. There might be a showing instruction that says, contact agent prior to showing with desired time and date and wait for approval. So do that. There might be some that say, property's vacant, go direct, no need to contact the agent. There might be one that says, use showing time to schedule showing. And it's just an app that's included into the MLS where you just click the button. It opens up a calendar of available times. You select the time, you submit it, and then the agent approves it and lets you know. So there's different, or maybe call 2 hours prior to showing, and to let us know, because maybe they have to put the dogs away or whatever it is. So make sure you adhere to the showing instructions. Don't just pass by a property and say, oh, look, there's the for lease sign there. There's a lockbox. I'll show you that one. Don't do that. You can get fined for doing that. And not to mention, what if you open the house and there's somebody walking out of the shower, or doing some stuff that, people do. Avoid discrimination of steering. So don't take your clients over here and say, oh, you know what, this is an all Asian neighborhood. I don't think you're gonna fit in here. Let's go take you over here to this neighborhood. Or this is an all white neighborhood. I don't think that you're gonna like it here. Don't say things like that. Let them pick where they want to live. And then when you find a property, now you're gonna submit the application and supporting documentation to the listing agent. And you want to include the lease commission agreement. So when you're calling the agent to let them know you're going to be submitting the application, or even before, when you're going to show, ask, hey, is the landlord willing to pay a commission? Get that out of the way, because they might say yes, they might say no, but at least you know going into it. It might make the tenant say, you know what, they're not offering to pay commission, so let's not look at that one. Because I want them to pay you, I don't want to pay you. So the lease commission agreement. I'll show you guys that in a minute. So the MLS listing is going to have instructions. Again, some will have instructions, some might not have instructions on what to submit when you're submitting your application packet. Some of them are going to say, submit your application and credit report, last 2 pay stubs, last 2 bank statements. And some might say that plus last year's tax return, or last 2 years tax returns or whatever it is. They might have different criteria, different requirements. So read before you submit for each property. And this is what the lease rental commission agreement looks like. And this is a form that's pretty much asking the housing provider, you're representing the tenant, but you want the landlord, the housing provider, to pay you the commission of compensation equal to, and you're going to write out 2.5% or 3% of the lease term or a 1-year lease. And you're going to have the tenant sign it, you're going to sign it, send it over to the landlord for them to agree to it and sign it. And if they do, then they're going to pay you. If they don't agree to it, then if they get accepted, then the tenant has to pay you. Any questions on this? Okay. So strategies to make.
The housing provider, I need to know about housing provider's name. Or I just kind of put the information in the MLS. Like, for example, in this one, in the signature part, it says the housing provider, right?
Yes.
That's the landlord.
Okay.
Yeah, you're probably not gonna know the housing provider's name. You can ask the agent for it, or you can check the tax records. But you can leave that blank because when they sign it down here, they're signing it with their name, and it's assumed that they're the housing
Okay.
provider.
Got it. So it's okay to put the empty.
Yes,
Okay. But tenant, I know tenant's name.
yes.
So I can put the tenant's name. Okay.
Like you can't put the landlord's sister's name on there
Yeah.
and then have the landlord sign it, right? Sorry, going back to that. But so it's specific. It's assumed that it's the housing provider. This is the person that's signing, and they sign it. So, all right, let's move on. Strategies to make your tenant stand out, your application packet stand out. Let's say that 10 different people submitted applications. They all look similar, and the landlord's like, okay, God, who should I accept? Because I like them all. Well, offer above asking price, $50 a month above asking price. Hey, Mr. Landlord, Mr. Landlord, I'm willing to pay you $50 more per month. You like everybody, but I'm offering you more money. Does that look better to you? Right? Or $100 a month or whatever it is. So that's one way of standing out. Another way is offer 6 months to 1 year upfront of rent. If the tenant has the money, a lot of them do, they'll pay a full year upfront. I leased a property here in Columbus Grove a 1.5 years ago, and the family was from, it's one of those countries near Cambodia, Vietnam. Anyways, they paid the whole year because the dad lived over there. He has a successful business, and the kids were here going to school, and they paid for the whole year up front, and they're still there. So some people will do it, and it does make your applicant stand out if you want to do that. The acceptance, so they finally accepted, so they accepted you, right, or your client. So call your client and say, hey, congratulations. They want you guys to live in their home, take care of it, don't mess up. And so the listings agent is going to drop the lease agreement, just like we said before, and send it to you for you to present to your client, to the tenant. Make sure to review that, the lease agreement, because you want to make sure that it's got the right price, the right term, the right deposit, and the terms that you guys agree to, like who's responsible for paying for utilities or for the gardener or things like that. And then also like what's included or excluded in the lease. And let's see, once everything's correct, have your tenant sign it and then send it back. There might be rules and regulations. Have them review that too. So you're gonna sign and send it all back, and then the move-in process. So let's go back to what you said, what you want to know about. So it's required now that landlords provide a stove and a refrigerator with the property.
Required?
Yes. But unless the tenant's gonna come with their own. And they're required to provide it and maintain it. So if it breaks, landlord is responsible to fix it.
What if the
Unless
landlord
it's-
doesn't have it to begin with?
If the tenant brings their own, then they're responsible for their own. But if the landlord provides it, then they're responsible for maintenance on
No,
it.
what if the landlord doesn't have it and the
Right.
tenants doesn't have it either?
They're required to have it.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's something I didn't know.
But a lot of tenants bring their own stuff. So. Let's see. All right, so when they're ready to move in, you might have to have them do 1, 2, or 3 different cashier's checks or I guess not money orders, cashier's checks. You want cashier's checks, or sometimes if the landlords want to accept a personal check, you can do that as well. But if it's one check, it's going to be the whole amount made out to the landlord, and then the landlord's going to pay commissions out of that, out of their own accounts. Or if the landlord is paying their agent commission, then they're gonna pay it out of the rent that's coming in, out of the move-in costs. So then the tenant is gonna write a check made out to the listing agent's brokerage for the commission amount. So in this case, the example 1440 to Coldwell Banker Planning Properties, and then the rest of it is gonna go to the landlord. So then the rest of it's gonna be made out to the landlord. Now, if the tenant is paying commission, let's say the landlord agrees to pay commission for the listing and the buyer's agent, tenant's agent. So it's also gonna come out of the tenants, the moving costs. So now you're gonna make a check out to the listing agent's brokerage for the commission, one for the buyer's brokerage for the commission, and then the remainder of it's gonna go to the landlord. Does that make sense? You guys look confused. Some of you look confused.
Just say that again, please.
Okay. One check for the listing brokerage, one check for the tenant's brokerage, and then the rest to the landlord. If the landlord agrees to pay commission for both agents, right? This is all gonna total the first month's rent and the security deposit. So let's say it's 5,000 a month. So moving cost is 10,000, security deposit 5,000, first month 5,000, that's 10,000. You're gonna have a check for, let's say 2,000 for the listing agent, 2,000 for the tenant's agent. That's 4,000. So 2,000 first check, 2,000 second check, and then the rest of it, 6,000 is gonna go to the landlord.
Sure.
Yes.
Representing tenant, but what is number one listing broker commission?
What do you mean?
Here, I'm representing tenant, right? But why do we need a listing broker commission here?
Because this money is all for first month's rent and security deposit. All this money is going to the landlord,
Right.
but the landlord is gonna allow, he's gonna pay the agents out of this money.
Right,
Yes,
so I'm a tenant's agent, so I kind of break down 3, so it'll be easier to calculate, right? To give to the cashier check, that's what this purpose is, breaking down 3 check.
yes.
So I need to check with the listing broker commission,
Yeah, they're gonna tell you how much the commission is for them.
then tenant commission is the remnant, right? Remains of the.
No. So let's say 10,000 is moving costs,
Mhm.
5,000 first month, 5,000 security deposit.
Right,
So your commission representing the tenant is, let's say 2,000.
uh-huh,
And then the commission for the listing side is 2,000 also.
mhm,
But instead of the landlord taking all of $10,000, he's gonna say, hey, out of the 10,000 that you owe me, Mr. Tenant, write a check for 2,000 for each agent. 2,000, and then the $6,000 check give to me. That's all part of my moving costs still. It's not a separate fee that the tenant is paying. It's all taken out of the moving costs. So the landlord can ask them to do that. The alternative would have been, give me the landlord the check for $10,000, and then I'm gonna pay the agents the commission out of that. But it just makes it easier for everybody because they get their checks right away. Does that make sense now? But let's say the landlord didn't agree to pay the tenant's agent. So he's gonna say, give me one check made out to the brokerage, the listing side brokerage for the commission, and the rest to me. So 2,000 to my agent, and then 8,000 to me, right, to the landlord. And then so the tenant has to write those checks, but then the tenant also has to have a separate check made out to his broker or her broker. So it's gonna be even more. Does that make sense?
Okay, so let's suppose that I'm a tenant agent.
Mhm.
And then when the tenants create the cashier's check for the commission,
Mhm.
the name should be the Code of Banker property premium.
Yeah, Cold Banker Platinum Properties.
Okay.
And then what you're gonna do with that check,
Okay.
when you get it, you're gonna give it to John Fasola,
Uh-huh.
and then he's gonna take the company split out of it, and then write you a check from the company
I see, got it,
for your commission.
I see.
Yes? Make sense? Okay.
Did you do that? Did you follow all like this?
I did, yeah.
How many checks did you get from your tenant?
I also, it was 3.
3 checks? One for your commission, one for the other agent's commission, then the rest to the landlord?
So you work with the listing agent, how to break down the commissions and.
Yeah, you have to kind of talk with them
Uh-huh,
and then let them know how their landlord wants it.
I see.
Yeah.
On the lease agreement, I don't know if it's the last page or second to last page of the lease agreement, there's a breakdown too that says, how much out of the proceeds are gonna be paid to the listing agent and then to the tenant's agent, out of the moving cost. But then, I think it's the second or third page of the lease agreement. It shows you how much you have to pay as a tenant for moving costs. So first month, it's gonna be 5,000, and security deposit 5,000, so total moving cost is 10,000. So you already know what the moving costs are gonna be. And then that other page that talks about commissions, saying out of the 10,000 proceeds, we need you to write a check for this much for Cold Banker, and then this much for the other brokerage, and then the rest of it to the landlord. And so once you're ready to move in, you can deliver the keys to the tenants or meet the listing agent at the property, give them the first month's check. It could be, again, if there might be even 4 checks because you're giving them the security deposit first. And then like in the middle of the month, and then the first month's rent on the move-in day. So it depends on how you guys do it, right? Figure it out. So you're gonna explain keys, remotes, passcodes, and this is what the landlords, hopefully the landlord or the agent will be there. And they can explain like, hey, your mailbox number is gonna be mailbox 24 and it's over there at the corner. Or here's the code for the alarm or for the door, or I'm transferring over my Google camera to your account, whatever it is, you guys sort everything out that you need to. So there's gonna be some things that you have to do. And then this key opens the screen door or the back door. This key opens the garage. There might be 4 different keys, right? This key opens up the pool, it's pool access. So keys, remotes, passcodes. And then give the tenant the move-in form. They're probably not gonna fill it out right there and then, but just give it to them. Ensure that they schedule the utility transfers. So make sure that they know ahead of time, you want to transfer the electricity to your name, gas, everything, trash, whatever it is, whatever they're going to pay for. So that when on move-in date, everything's transferred over. Give the tenant a copy of the entire transaction file, their application, their credit report, the lease agreement, everything. And stay in touch for ongoing support or renewal needs. So maybe they want to renew in a month, or in a year, or they want to move to a different property, or they want to buy a property. Keep in touch with them. I like to give this to my tenants that move in. This is like an information sheet. If there's a mailbox number, the mailbox number. If there's a gate code, you're gonna enter the gate code there, alarms, so forth. what electric company and phone number is in the area, gas, water, all that stuff. HOA name, phone number, landlord's contact information. Just makes it easier for them, right? And then upload everything to SkySlope. Again, give the commission check to John. Then he'll write a check to you for your commission. And then reach out after like a week, if they haven't already, and ask them for the move-in form. Because you have to then, after they sign it, send it to the listing site, have the landlord sign it, saying that they acknowledge that they got a copy of it, and then you have a copy uploaded to SkySlope. And again, transaction checklists for leases. Housekeeping stuff, pet versus emotional support or service animal. You guys understand the difference? You have to have like a permit to have a service animal or emotional support, and they're not considered pets. So if you're telling someone, we're not gonna select you because you have an emotional support animal, that's discrimination. You can't do that.
Can I ask for the permit though?
I believe you can. I mean, they can easily get one off the internet. Yeah, so it's not, everybody has them, you know? Discrimination, don't discriminate. For race, age, sex, gender, disability, religion, marital status, or if they're an Android user. I know you iPhone people hate us. Don't discriminate because we're Android users.
I got.
That's not a protected class.
You kidding?
Yeah, that's not a protected class, but it should be.
He just wants to be.
Hey, we have feelings too. We have feelings too.
I actually think, now I have iPhone, like 4 months ago, I had Android.
Yeah.
Then
You missed it, don't you?
I called the listing agent and another listing agent, and he says that, what phone are you using? I'm using Android. I'm like, well, why would you use iPhone? The entire my life I was the Android user, and
Is it the green text or whatever? Is it
Yeah.
colors it where you can tell it's not an iPhone? Oh, you're a green person. It's like, what are you talking
it
about?
was like really like, oh my god.
Section 8 housing, you're gonna get calls for this for when you're representing a landlord or even a tenant. Do they accept Section 8? You can't say no. Section 8 housing is okay. The Housing Choice Voucher program is the federal government's major program for assisting very low income families, the elderly, and the disabled to afford decent, safe, and sanitary housing in the private market. Since housing assistance is provided on behalf of the family or individual, participants are able to find their own housing, including single family homes, townhomes, and apartments. So it's subsidized housing. Okay. A housing subsidy is paid to the landlord directly by the public housing agency on behalf of the participating family. The family then pays the difference between the actual rent charged by the landlord and the amount subsidized by the program. So if the rent is $5,000 and the subsidy is $4,000, the government pays $4,000 and the tenant pays the extra $1,000. So some people like this because it's a guaranteed paycheck that it's going to be paid for. They don't have to worry about it. Some people don't like it because sometimes it brings a different class of people, you know, that maybe not very nice or not very, whatever it is. There's a stigma behind it sometimes. So again, some people like it, some people don't, but you can't say, no, we're not accepting you because you're Section 8. That's discrimination.
But if you do accept, doesn't the landlord have to apply or?
Yes,
go
they have to,
through a
there has to be an
process?
inspection if you're gonna accept them of the property, and there's certain things it has to be a certain way. So it has to be approved and all that.
And that's a process. It
Yeah.
takes time, right?
Yeah, I don't know what the time is, but. So third-party tools, skyslope.com is where you're gonna upload a copy of everything to us. Transaction management. Rentspree.com is the tenant screening website. Create a free account there. And then Zillow.com, go to Google and type in, see Google, Android, see, you guys use it? Go to Google and type in Zillow Rental Manager. And then the first link that comes up for that is gonna allow you to log in as an agent or create an account. Make sure you guys create that account. So when you do have lease listings, you can, I guess, like add more things to it or whatever. And then also you'll get leads through it. So you can even download the app and then communicate through the app on your phone, on any type of phone. Any questions?
Hard, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, man, I was like, everybody's got Macs. I'm like, Mac. I brought in my laptop yesterday to kind of, do some updates on it. And then Holden's like, oh, you brought your laptop. I'm like, yeah, I just got tired of seeing so many Macs here. I had to bring my Windows laptop here just to remind myself that there are still Windows laptops. But yeah, any questions?
I actually asked him yesterday, text. If you represent a tenant's side, do you give them small gifts? When,
If you want to.
what is the good thing, like really not expensive things?
You could do like a gift card to like a
Stop.
grocery store or something.
Candies.
Or this can
Sis
be,
candy is like my go-to for almost everything.
okay,
It's like the
Yeah,
easy,
whatever you want to.
nice cheap thing.
I
Yeah.
see. Okay, that's a good idea. This country.
Any questions at home? Are you guys still there? Did you fall asleep?
Thank you, Carlos.
You're welcome, Molly.
Yeah, store. They have a lot of different packages.
Okay,
That's
we'll
pretty-
call it quits then.
Yeah, with drinks
Yes.
and stuff, it's
Now,
quite well.
appliances that included in the rental.
Hmm?
Now that you have to maintain the stove and the refrigerator.
Yes.
What about other?
If you provide, then it's up to you, it's up to the landlord. If you're providing a washer and dryer, you could say that any maintenance will be paid for by the tenant.
Okay,
That the seller's not responsible, the landlord's not
so
responsible.
you have to
for
list
it.
them all out, like,
If you're gonna
Yeah,
leave them
then-
there, yeah.
okay.
Yep.
Okay, now while the tenant lived there, I'm assuming they have to maintain all that stuff. If something breaks down, let's say the microwave is not working or the light burn out,
Yes,
is that assumed that it is a tenant's responsibility, or do I have to list it out?
you can list it out just to clarify, just to make it even more clear.
Mm.
I mean, I don't know of any landlord that goes by and replaces the light bulbs.
But I have people call me and say, the light bulb's out, I say,
Yeah, that's not maintained, that's not something that's maintained by the landlord.
Okay.
And maybe you could spell it out even, just to clarify everything.
finish.
Okay. Thank you guys for coming.
Yeah.
Keep on.
Thank you.